For a plane that only had 2 prototypes built and was only flown 3 times before the war's end, it is surprisingly well established in pop culture. Its bizarre design and iconic name is instantly recognizable, even to those not well versed in aviation, with the Shinden, the direct translation meaning magnificent lightning, found throughout modern media since the war's end. In video games, the Shinden can be found in arcade titles like Strikers 45 by Psycho. The Wii title Skycrawlers by Project Aces of Ace Combat fame also features it, along with numerous other World War II flight action games like Ubisoft's Blazing Angels 2 or Gaijin Entertainment's War Thunder. It is also found throughout film, with Toho Studios having built a scale model for filming of Godzilla -1, and an entire film adaptation of the aforementioned Skycrawlers in 2008 made by Production IG heavily depicting a modified Shinden aircraft as the protagonist's plane. But where did such a pop icon come from, and what was it built for? Interestingly about the Shinden, it is not technically what many call an end-of-the-war design, or at the very least it didn't begin as one, as the origins of the Shinden begin in 1943 within the echelons of the Imperial Japanese Navy, specifically with one Commander Masayoshi Tsuruno, who was very eager to propose a fighter design utilizing a rear-mounted wing and engine, along with forward canards, to create a maneuverable high-performance fighter that could, theoretically, also accept a turbojet in the near future when such engines were available. The unconventional design saw much skepticism at first, and so Tsuruno developed 3 scaled-down gliders, one of which powered by a small 4-cylinder engine, to prove that the configuration was in fact aerodynamically sound, accomplishing this feat by the end of 1943. The Imperial Japanese Navy, seeing this scaled-down success, was very impressed with the design and gave the green light for Tsuruno to begin developing a full-scaled prototype. However, design and production of the 2 J7W Shinden prototypes would take, due to its unconventional design, significantly long, with construction only beginning in June of 1944 while the initial blueprints were still being worked on. Japan, in the intervening months between the IJN's approval and the construction of the prototype, had seen its fortunes in the war turn from bad, which had sparked the want for a high-performance fighter like Tsuruno promised, to worse, now desperately needing a high-performance, high-altitude interceptor that could head off the B-29 superfortresses bombing the home islands from Saipan. The first prototype would be finished in April of 1945, equipped with the Ha-43 radial engine rated at 2,130 horsepower, or so it said, with air intakes and cooling provided by inlets on the fuselage sides just behind the cockpit. Ground tests, however, revealed that the engine did not have sufficient cooling, and so the first test flight was delayed until the cooling issues could be addressed, taking till the 3rd of August. On the 3rd of August, the Shinden would take off and indeed fly, with none other than the now Captain Tsuruno at the controls. Its first flight was by all accounts a good success, though noted by some particular fluttering, vibrations, and a stark pull to starboard due to the engine's torque. Nothing that theoretically couldn't be solved, though. Further test flights would occur on the days Hiroshima and Nagasaki were erased by atomic bombings, August 6th and August 9th respectively, accruing a total of 45 minutes flight time on the first prototype. Again, these test flights showed promising performance, but it was not to be. Emperor Hirohito would declare Japan's surrender on August 15th, followed by the official signing on the USS Missouri on September 2nd. Thus, the first prototype would be scrapped, while the second prototype would be taken by the US as a war prize, deconstructed, and sent to the States for evaluation, where it promptly had an episode of PTSD remembering the XP-55 Ascender, and thus forgot about it till 1960 when it was given to the Smithsonian Museum, where it resides today. Though it did not begin life as a Hail Mary effort like some others the Shinden is clumped together with, the HE-162 Salamander or the Oka rocket-powered kamikaze plane being 2 examples, the Shinden is a well-thought-out and developed fighter with some considerable teeth had it actually equipped its planned armament of a quartet of 30mm autocannons in the nose. Whether its flight performance, however, would allow it to hit a B-29 is an entirely different question, likely with an answer of no, as while the airframe was mostly sound, the engine and its housing within the Shinden was not. The Ha-43 developed by Mitsubishi was experimental in itself and plagued by problems during development that were never solved before war's end, nor are likely capable of being solved due to the overambitious goals Mitsubishi had for the engine. That, coupled with the difficulties of cooling an engine placed in a pusher configuration, only compounded problems that would make the Shinden's performance likely not as glamorous as one would hope. Thankfully, the world of pop culture cares not for such trivialities as real-world performance or the engine melting itself more often than not, and happily continues displaying the Shinden in games, films, and manga for likely years to come.